Good morning and welcome to the Fancy Ramen Podcast, episode 150. It's the big 150.
We take pride in our work.
I'm Cookie. No, we're not actually going to start this.
I'm Neil, I guess.
And I'm Scott.
I've got things to do.
It's okay. 150 episodes of practicing where I go last, and on 150 we decide to change the order.
I don't think I've ever gone second. How?
You normally go first, but I always take last.
But I do like if someone would rather want to take leadership of this podcast away. I am totally for that.
Yeah, but you're the one who's got the eye for like professional audio equipment, balancing, mixing, editing.
It's a real shame too that he doesn't have the ear for it.
Even though I'm an audio engineer. No, I don't know what's going on. I bet that the sound coming from... I don't know why it's not working. Because it's obviously very loud in my headset, but I guess it's not kicking over Discord's... I know exactly what it is. Discord doesn't think it's a voice, so it's automatically gating it out, I bet.
So you got to push to talk with it.
Yeah, maybe.
So basically what you're saying is...
Maybe I'm just playing it for myself.
We've heard it like 400 times, and that was not it.
I think it would have been better if you were dancing on stream too, for that matter.
Well, welcome to the Fancy Ramen Podcast, a podcast about video games and other ancillary media. We've already introduced ourselves as Cookie, Neil, and Scott. What have you guys been up to this week?
Yeah, since we kind of recorded on Thursday night. Sorry, Overknob, you missed it. Also,
tell me how your Valentine's Day went.
I don't think your uncle's that troubled about missing one podcast episode, okay?
He's also been missing all of my actual, like, I've streamed Sea of Thieves like 3 times since then as well. Shameful. I know, right? Oh yeah, I guess Valentine's Day has happened. But yeah, me and Lizzie decided not to do much of anything. Literally made like fancy macaroni and cheese. I used leeks and bok choy as well for delicious. Like a side. Because I felt like being all extra weird and difficult.
Amazing. Did you register as Chinese yet on your green card?
You mean my yellow card? I was racist. I don't apologize.
You can't do that on stream.
I guess this is live stream now. Not that any of this was going to get edited out. Nah.
I mean, that's the best part is that now that I can actually not edit at all. So all of these verbal pauses and awkward moments are just going to stay in no matter what. They're in.
It adds character is what Neil would have you believe.
Overknob, I got you. I'm going to like ping my going live and not going live 50 times before I actually go live the next time I stream Sea of Thieves.
Neil's responsible with the Twitter, at least. I definitely see all the streaming updates.
Oh, but that's the thing. Streamlabs OBS just does it for me.
Oh, that's really
nice. You think
nice.
I would actually put in the effort to do something if I can't just automate it?
Wait, you said you don't use OBS.
I use OBS Streamlabs or Streamlabs OBS, whatever the order is. It's still functionally OBS, but it has a lot of things caked into it.
Nice. I'll have to take a look at that. Maybe. Not really. We'll see. So besides that, been watching a lot more of Lock and Key on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, the amount of terrible decisions being made are astronomical, but the one terrible decision I thought would have like bad consequences, like what would you say if you could get rid of one of your emotions? Do you think that would have negative connotation? Let's say you get rid of your fear that is going around attacking people, but you stab it and bury it outside of your head. Wouldn't you think that would, like, it's an emotion, you can't kill it, so it would just unbury itself and go on a murder spree?
I mean, that's incredibly hard for me to even conceptualize. I'm not entirely sure what you're saying.
It's okay. Just know that a thing that I thought was going to happen did not. And I'm fairly saddened by it. I was just like, there should be more consequences to what these children are doing. There aren't that many, actually.
You know, children don't have enough consequences in their life. That's absolutely true.
Like, I'm over here fearing for these kids' lives, and they're just like, hoity-toity. But no, I've been watching a lot more of Lock and Key, if you haven't seen it on Netflix. It's really good. It's about kids who live in a magical house full of keys.
Oh, and
that
the
allow you
stupid
to-
parents, right?
No, just one parent, the mom, because the dad's dead.
Now I feel bad for shaming a single parent, but okay.
But but yeah, it has a lot of magical keys that allow you to do different things, like a key that allows you to go inside your own head, key that sets things on fire, key that allows you to go anywhere. It's on Netflix, and it's pretty good. It's a rousing gas to watch with family and be like, why would you do this?
I like how you are just like gathering more people to watch this show with you, so you have a collective audience that can continue to harass the decisions of the characters and actors.
Isn't that the point of all media?
I
To
mean,
just harass
it's-
the characters and actors.
it's a great way to enjoy it.
Or criticize their actions. I mean, it's partly why I kept pushing the Somnium Files onto you guys, or onto Scott specifically.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited to finally get to play. Whenever it comes.
It's shipping out to you very soon.
Oh, you realize the issue that we're going to have here is if we were going to do a spoiler cast of the Somnium Files, we can't really do it on stream because Cookie will be the one hosting the stream.
That's right.
It's okay. You can totally spoil it for me. You know my thing on spoilers. I love them and accept them, and they allow me to skip media while still getting to enjoy and ingest all the media. But
I'm
it
not
will just
sure
be
that-
sitting here like this.
I'm not sure that the Somnium Files is a game that you can enjoy if you know what's going on the whole time.
I think it's
Okay.
It would be interesting playing it again, knowing the ins and outs, though, for sure.
That's true. Maybe we can actually have Cookie essentially be our second playthrough. In a way, there's still going to be twists for sure.
Nice.
Okay, so
So what have you been up to, Scott?
on my end, the reason I haven't actually mailed this game to you yet is because, as you can see behind me, my couch is gone.
So you haven't mailed like video game because
I mailed a couch. No, I didn't mail the couch.
And you
can't fit it
accidentally
in the
mailed the
mailbox.
couch with the game inside of the cushions.
That's right.
So-
Yes. Yep. Because I did want the game to be protected from damage. And so I thought cushions are a good way to protect it. What's the most cushiony disposable thing I have? This giant ass couch. But no, I got rid of the couch. And Sierra and I are, I don't even want to say the word upgrading. I don't even want to say the word upgrading. But so I bought another couch secondhand. So I bought another couch. I'm currently just doing some preliminary checks on said secondhand couch to make sure that it is safe to bring into my home.
So you're setting it on fire for bed bugs.
That was the thing, is actually I was like, I will take no chances with bed bugs. So it's out in the like below freezing weather right now. Going through like multiple sprays of Raid on all of the seams just in case. I don't see any signs of bed bugs, but I'm super paranoid about buying something secondhand from a source that I do not know.
So why would you do it?
Because I'm stupid and I thought I'd save money, but at this point I feel like I should have just bought a brand new cheap couch.
That's smart. That's
Yeah.
smart.
But it ate up my whole Saturday, and that's pretty much all I had since we recorded last. Friday, I didn't do anything too crazy either. Just hung out. No big Valentine's Day plans. Getting a couch was supposed to be the big Valentine's Day fun. It was not.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
The act of buying house appliances and furniture with your significant other can sometimes be more stressful than you initially think.
It was.
That's
It
why you-
absolutely was. It was a terrible choice.
That's why IKEA is quite literally a hurdle for most couples
Mm-hmm.
going IKEA shopping.
It's only compounded by the fact that Sierra and I cannot enjoy the Swedish meatballs because they're meat. That creates its own conflict. But But no, we don't have an IKEA. So instead, I had to take the gamble of deciding if I wanted to essentially do a Craigslist style pickup of a $50 couch and then roll the dice on introducing potentially bed bugs into my home, which is absolute insanity. And I am regretting already. Or buy a new couch for several $100s, which sounded expensive, but I'm pretty sure it may be cheaper if things go sideways. So I'm just sitting here kicking myself, thinking, do I really even need a couch? Should I just burn this one for fun and like call it good? I bet I could get used to sitting on the floor.
Ooh, we can build you a kotatsu when I come up.
That'd be sweet. That'd be really sweet. And then no need for a couch.
Exactly, because you then have a sitting table.
I just now, if I burn the couch, the pesticides that have been absorbed into the fabrics may make it a biohazard. So,
or it becomes a pesticide bomb for your apartment. You can burn the couch inside, throw up some plastic wrap, and evacuate.
Yeah. The only problem is the fire part.
It'll be small.
I have to get a large love seat sized fire pit to add to my apartment first. But that's pretty much been all of my free time. What have you been up to, Neil?
Playing games? No, I've just been working a lot. I don't think I have anything new to say from Wednesday. I made cheesecakes, but just like
cheesecakes,
or just one, I should say. But just like any other like baking, fancy experience I've had, like it turns out to taste good or fine, but it always looks like a hot pile of garbage.
Hey man, as long as it tastes good, presentation's only 50% of the taste. So
it's like presentation makes up a large portion of like whether or not you actually enjoy something because you taste with your eyes. Baking in the basement is hard. That is one thing we'll have to like think about. I feel like we should, if we're going to stream it, we'll have to interact with chat too. So we don't make Overknob and Fuller Spectrum, feel neglected like your pets and animals that you guys never play with.
Never play
That's
with.
Right.
I learned that there's a streaming thing that people do where they just pet their dog. That's weird.
I just discovered Twitch Sings yesterday, thanks to Mikey Dudes.
Sing into Twitch?
There's an app that is basically like the vocal part of Rock Band. And it has like streaming built into it as well if you didn't want to, go through Streamlabs, OBS or XSplit or anything like that. It looks really fun.
SingStar Twitch. I like it. I like SingStar.
It's pretty hilarious. But that's it. I just played games and I don't really even have, we knew the fears or troubles of doing our podcast on Wednesday or Thursday, was it? But I have absolutely nothing new to contribute to this podcast.
Sweet. I've got things to contribute if it makes you feel any better.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and I skipped on all my contributions Thursday, so I've got a backlog to get into as well.
So I'm going to first apologize if anyone hears any squeaky dogs. We are getting a second one for the next day right now at this exact moment. So I apologize, but let's talk about some video games.
Cookie, you take the floor.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I'll do better next time.
I'm going to eat my toast in the meantime.
On stream?
Right into the mic, please.
Please. Thank you. Oh, he took it away. Crunch.
That toast does not look that crunchy.
It doesn't.
It's soggy.
You do have to heat it to get it to be toast. Oh, okay. Okay, I see it now.
He burnt an edge. So I've been playing and actually tried to stream on my Xbox One X for the first time yesterday for a good hour, which I found out after re-listening to the stream that the mic that I'm using for the Xbox is very quiet. I'll have to figure out how to fix that. But I was streaming Children of Morta. And my God, that is a great fun, interesting roguelike. It is a 8-bit ish, or maybe 16-bit, 24-bit, 32-bit. There's a limited number of bits for it.
And it's somewhere within that divisible by 8 category. Okay.
Exactly. Roguelike game where you are a family that live in a big house type manner where you guys are warriors. The kind of hook of the game is there's a corruption going around and your family's like responsible for stopping it. Like your family did it like 200 years ago, the last time it happened. And now your family's kind of responsible for doing it now. It starts off where you are the father and he uses a sword and shield and you're kind of making the runs, trying to get a little bit further. They've got these magical crystals that right before you experience death, you get brought back to the manor, which kind of explains like the roguelike keep going type of element. And as you go along, the older sister joins in and she uses a bow and arrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's the president. And he, God, what was that? Yes, the sister. She uses a bow and arrow. So like after you get so far in exploring, she kind of joins you in the cave system. And at that point, you can then play this game co-op. So you can have up to 2 people running in the same dungeon using like the father or the sister.
Mm-hmm.
After a little bit, every time you die and go back, there's like a little story beat that happens within the manor. So the youngest son, he was having issues because he was too young to actually be able to fight. And the older brother was out at the monk's monastery. He felt bad, so the uncle made him some daggers. He got to practice with them for a little bit. And then the mom was like, nah, you're too young for this. Yeah, they're all animals. They're all animals. The animals in the background, over and up. But so this game kind of introduces some weird things besides the like story. After every run, they'll be sitting down eating dinner at some point. And they'll do like a nice little voiceover of, oh yeah, lots of heroes have time to like sharpen axes and hone their skills, but how many heroes do you know that just sit down for family meal? And it's like, oh, that's cute. But they just recently introduced a fatigue system in the game. So as you play more, you obviously find like who your favorite characters are. So my favorite character is the older sister who uses the bow and arrow. But if you just keep using that same exact family member, they become fatigued. And the deeper you get into the dungeons, the more time that you're using them, their fatigue like has a effect on their maximum HP that they've got. So by the time I realized I was getting fatigued, it would be like, oh man, why is my health just on a constant ticker going down every 2 seconds? I'm not really getting hit. And then I come out of the dungeon and it's like, man, you've used her like 6 times in a row. The family is not susceptible, is no longer like no longer non-affected by the corruption. Mm-hmm. She is 50% fatigued. The ways to get rid of fatigue are by letting them rest. And to let them rest, you have to take other people into the dungeon. So it kind of helps with that. Oh, I'm playing a roguelike. I really like this character's build. I just want to keep using this character. So it kind of makes you experiment and use the rest of the family. I'm really enjoying it. It's got some great little things because usually it feels like it's in that 16, 32-bit genre. But every once in a while it'll like zoom out. So then you realize that the pixels that you're seeing are just because you're so zoomed into the actual area. So like your character looks 2 inches tall on the screen, but then it'll zoom out to where they look like they're just a pixel, and then you could see the entire like spans of the scenery, and everything's just in like glorious detail and looks sharp and beautiful. All of a sudden it goes from Sega Genesis to what was that one really, really pretty game by Square Enix for the Nintendo Switch?
Nintendo
Octopath Traveler.
Switch. Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's like, and I found that crazy. But yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past couple of days.
So, if you don't mind me asking, does this game have roguelite elements to it?
Yes. So every time you go into the dungeon, so I've unlocked the first 3 levels. So it's quite literally like there's a procedurally generated dungeon. As you're going through it, the dungeon layout's different. You're collecting different runes for your characters. So that way they're getting different power-ups during the actual run themselves. The only thing that stays constant is the theme of the dungeon. So the first one was a spider's web.
Mm-hmm.
So like giant spider at the end of the first dungeon. So lots of spiders around, lots of spider webs. Everything looked creepy and spidery. The second dungeon that I unlocked was, since you killed the spider, the goblins are braver and more likely to encroach. So the second dungeon is just full of goblin archers, goblins, and then you have to defeat the goblin twins. I have not finished the third one yet. I haven't got to its boss yet. So, but the second one, this third level happens to be like a nice mix between the two, plus a lot more elite enemies. So yeah, it's got good roguelike elements.
So these runes. Oh, sorry, Neil.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So for the runes, are the runes effects or upgrades, are they static towards the runes, or do they have a different type of upgrade or tweak depending on what character you're using? Are they consistent?
Static towards the runes. So
Okay.
like one of my favorite ones to pick up is quite literally has a chance to make your primary attack an electrical discharge.
Okay,
so
and they
chain lightning.
always work as well. Like you don't have to equip them. It's essentially like picking up an item in Risk of Rain or something, where it's just like that's a part of your character for the entirety of the run.
So there are permanent runes. So runes that as soon as you pick it up, that's you for the entirety of the run. There are mod runes. So for so many primary attacks, secondary attacks are the like third ability you have.
Mm-hmm.
The rune modifies one of your 3 abilities. As you're using it, it gives it its own little like health pool or mana pool, and it'll just tick down to 0, and then it'll go away. And then there are like temporary buffs, and then there are item interactable runes, which are like you gain an invulnerable shield, or you gain an invulnerable shield that after it takes enough damage, it'll explode, dealing burst damage to everything.
Are those things single-use items, or are they also on like a recharge or reuse?
They are also on a cooldown.
Okay, sweet. All right. And I guess I should have said maybe those primary runes are more like dead cells than they are like Risk of Rain. Okay.
How difficult is it?
I've got it on normal difficulty. It's not bad. I want to say, so after you die, it kind of gives you like a timer. So the first 3 times I went out, just because I was using the father, which is a melee character with his sword and shields, I was like getting 4-minute runs. Then when I got the sister, who's the archer, it was like, oh, I really like her. And she's got a lot more survivabilities and she's not in the thick of things. So she's got a 10-minute run. So I had a 10-minute run with her. Now, pretty much with everybody, I can usually get around 15 minutes into whatever run. Most of the 2 things that I've beaten, they take about 30 minutes. So I can get about halfway through. So it's not like super difficult once you know. God bless you, my child. May you go with the grace of God.
Excuse me.
They're not super difficult once you know how the characters work. So like the first time you use a character, you're going to have a really short run with that person. You only get one.
I know. I'm trying so hard.
But no, it's not that bad of a game. It's not too hard. I'm pretty sure it's going to start kicking my butt every 2 seconds, but as long as they give me range characters, I'm fine. But since it got that fatigue system, I pretty much have got a thing where I will use the older sister, the son, the older son, the dad, the younger sister, the older sister. So I'll like swap between each one on their runs. I'm only missing one character at this point.
And that's the dog.
Actually, you did end up finding a wolf cub and like having to collect herbs for it as you were making runs in different areas to heal it back to full health. And I was really hoping that he would have been a part of the younger sister's kit, but he is not, and that makes me sad.
So it's grandma then?
Oh, grandma's a badass. She's just like you just randomly run into her inside the middle of the caves because she's the wise and old elder who kind of knows what's going on, but is also trying to suss everything out. So she's the one that's just like, oh man, out of all the crazy things happening, this mythical pillar, now you get an upgrade, is what brought grandma all the way down to the deepest part of this dungeon. Cool.
She's had a secret elevator she's not sharing this whole time.
She's got freaking teleport rifts like everywhere. So you'll save some people in the cave system. Grandma will pop out of a teleport rift, help them leave the cave system. She'll go back through her teleport rift, and Bob's your uncle. Grandma's just like, she's just there.
So grandma knows it's not about the results, it's about the journey. And that's why she's not helping you.
But yeah, so that's been my playthrough of Children of Morta, and then I've also been playing a game called Bleeding Edge. They're having a beta right now in on the Xbox. It's a hero shooter with more of like a hip hop-ish punk aesthetic. So like one of the first characters you get introduced to, he's a samurai, but he's got like what's the bandolier with spray paint cans on it. So he looks like a samurai, but also spray paint stuff to cloak himself in invisibility, and does shurikens. And you've got a lady who's basically riding a one wheel, and she's a tank. So like her two hands have the discs that Yo-Yo used in Big Hero 6, but they're actual buzzsaws. So while she's riding her one wheel, she'll like put them both together, hop on her like front two, hop on her discs on her hands, and make herself a motorcycle to go faster. There's a lady with chicken legs. There's a dead-looking guy who's like a voodoo, who's the Shadow Man from The Princess and the Frog, who's a healer. There's another guy who's just kind of lazy. He's always on his cell phone. He's riding what looks like a hovercraft wheelchair, but he also, in his animations, uses his legs. So he's just in a hovercraft lazy boy.
He's just lazy.
Yeah, but he's your healer, so it's fine, I guess.
Okay, real talk. First things first. Yo-yo bandsaws or bandsaw yo-yos.
So, you know Yo-Yo from Big Hero 6?
Oh, no, I do not. Sorry, I thought you meant like yo-yos as in like flinging out bandsaws only to bring them back into your hand and just destroy.
Well, she does actually, one of her moves is quite literally like she has them on strings, so she'll whip them around her in a nice little arc. So like Yo-Yo's on a bandsaw. But no, Yo-Yo from, I think her name was Yo-Yo on Big Hero 6, the chick with the rollerblades.
Okay. It's been a while. I haven't seen it. And then my other question is so when you say it's a hero shooter, I take it you're implying that it's similar to like Overwatch and games
it's basically Overwatch with its own skinned aesthetic.
So is there something that this game does that makes it unique versus Overwatch or any of its ilk, so to speak?
So far, the only thing that really makes it stand apart is just one of its modes, which I've played in Paladins. So no, it's just another hero shooter with a different skin on it.
Is this a Microsoft exclusive game or?
That is a very good question. The game is called Bleeding Edge. It's an open beta on the Xbox and pulling this up on my iPad so that way I don't have to worry about, the stream seeing this.
I could understand its existence if it were a Microsoft exclusive, because
Yeah, it is.
okay,
Yep, Microsoft exclusive.
all right,
And
it
it's
makes sense.
developed by Ninja Theory as well. I believe they were the ones behind Setsuna.
Senua's Sacrifice.
Senua's Sacrifice, yeah.
Heavenly Blade, Heaven's Blade, something along those lines.
I think it's Heaven's Blade, yeah.
Or Heaven's Sword, maybe. That's disheartening, to be completely honest with you. Not to say that online multiplayer shooters and games or MOBAs and stuff. Heavenly Sword, thank you, Fuller Spectrum. Not to say that those things don't have a value to it. Wait, I might retract this statement, but it pains me when a studio that is known for making good single player games ends up making multiplayer games, online games.
I want to say in an interview they said they like to work in smaller teams.
And they are working on Senua's Sacrifice 2 or whatever, Hellblade 2. So, yep.
Yeah.
As Spectrum notes. So I guess it's kind of like a non point then if they're still working on other things. Just like how Titanfall 3 is absolutely not canceled, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that series.
I'm being sarcastic, by the way, right?
Maybe.
It's dead. It's totally dead.
Good, because I forgot about that game.
What?
Oh, maybe not good?
Yeah, not good.
Respawn.
Titanfall 2 is great.
And then Respawn made this really great, totally not bad game called Fallen Order. Star Wars Fallen Order.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I feel like you're the only person that, well, not the only person, but the only person in this podcast that has like a dislike towards that game. I have no opinion on it.
Okay.
Wait, why do you dislike it?
I dislike it because I played Sekiro before I played this game, and I think it only works in the alternate order in which you play this game and then play something better like Sekiro. Right. It's very hard to play. Like, I remember back in the day playing Halo 2, right? Over at a friend's house all the time. I only got to play Halo Combat Evolved like quite a bit later. And when I realized there was no such thing as like dual wielding in Halo Combat Evolved and that some of the weapons worked a little differently, this is a hard comparison because I actually think Halo Combat Evolved is still a pretty good game. But I remember playing it and just being like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that I could do in Halo 2 that just like doesn't feel as good or clumsy or does not exist in the infrastructure of this game at all. And I was disappointed. And that is what Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Fallen Order has felt like after playing Sekiro. Is like, oh, I see. There is a wall running mechanic that just feels like lame traversal, and they hide their load screens behind walking through like tight crack corridors like Tomb Raider. It just feels like a lot of elements from other games I've played that I've liked either just as much or a lot more. And so it feels like it's this slapdash approach to just having a lot of different, interesting things okayly executed. Like it feels very average in a lot of ways. And the enemies having one combo a piece that they execute is really kind of lame in comparison to a lot of other combat games, especially something like Sekiro, where even a normal enemy at least has like a deck of probably 3 or 4 random or randomized like attacks and sequences that they can follow through. In this one, it's just like, yes, now that I've learned to wait for a stormtrooper to like raise their blaster to fire, that's an instant kill, right? Like the tells to parry and deflect are super easy. And then the boss fights, it's like they also have maybe 2 to 3 combos that they execute throughout the boss fight, and it doesn't feel as clean. So I'm still playing the game. I haven't stopped yet, but
wait, you haven't beaten it yet?
It's pretty quick, I think. I don't know exactly. I still have not gotten force pull, so maybe I have not moved that far forward in the game, but
You've not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I just got done with Kashyyyk. And also, goddamn, is this an ugly game with the character animations outside of Cal, the main character. The general, like, non-named rebel soldier and Wookiee characters look like dog shit in a game that was made for 2019. They also only have one animation, which is the Wookiee cry and doing this with their arms. So it happened like 6 times in maybe a 20-minute period, and I was getting sick and tired of it. And I don't like their introduction of boss fights either. I wish there were more boss fights and less fighting walkers where I just slash at their legs and then dodge the like charges that they drop and then slash at their legs some more. The combat never feels tense. It just feels clumsy when things aren't going your way. And when things are going your way, it feels incredibly easy. And I haven't encountered a challenge that I've considered like enjoyable yet. But I'm still playing it. So what does that say about me?
I like how that was a beautiful segue into the games you were playing, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So Spectrum does point out that like it wasn't Star Wars that killed Titanfall 3. It was the success of Apex Legends.
That's true.
I love myself some Apex Legends.
Yeah, it's a good game. Excuse me. I don't want to detract from that title at all, but it's bittersweet, we'll say, that we're probably not going to get Titanfall 3, at least not for a long time now.
Hey, it could be an Xbox Series X exclusive for all we know.
You think there's a universe where EA buys Respawn? Not EA, sorry, Microsoft.
I was like, don't they own them?
Well, they do.
Yes, I think there is, especially with all the acquisitions that Microsoft's been happy with lately.
Are they happy? I think we have to wait until the Xbox, the next generation of consoles and games comes out before we can know for sure.
They got Cookie to buy one. And I will say that it seems like they're doing better. Like I feel like the games that they're releasing are attracting more attention than they had been even a year or two ago.
But they still have a few studios that they haven't necessarily produced anything yet. I'm not saying it's like, why haven't they released something? But the studio that did, oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. That did We Happy Few.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously need to give them some time before they'll come out with a new game or IP or work on whatever. There's a few other of their recent acquisitions that obviously haven't produced anything yet. And it's not necessarily a bad thing or good thing, but I think they'll have to wait until those projects are out before I think we can say they were good purchases. And yes, We Happy Few was a nightmare indeed.
I was not a fan of that game. I pre-ordered it as soon as they had the E3 like intro thing that they showed, because I was like, oh man, this is going to be a single player story driven great story. It's a freaking survival horror game, procedurally generated. Ugh. Why did I buy this?
Spectrum says I got a review copy and they sent saves because saving didn't work a week before launch.
Oh no.
Oh man, that's very rough. We kind of have a mutual friend, the three of us. One of Artie's friends, though, that is kind of a good barometer for a game. If a game like that, if he could not play it, that's usually not a very good sign. And it failed the buck test in that regard. So I wanted to play it before its release, and I wanted to like it. But after hearing and reading up on it so much, I was just like, I'm just going to skip this.
Is the buck test considered a general audience examination?
It could be. I think it's actually realistic in certain ways, because this person that no one else knows who we're talking about bounced off of like Red Dead Redemption because it was too boring, but loved what are the games? Grappling Hook.
Grappling Hook is Bionic Commando.
More recent. It's in its fourth iteration.
recent grappling
Just
hook
Cause.
fourth
Thank you,
iteration.
Artie.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, Just Cause was great.
So,
Love Just Cause.
like, Buck is not necessarily the barometer for like sophisticated gameplay, but
But that's okay.
but he has like a good sense of like fun, so to speak.
Right, and that's what matters oftentimes in
I was gonna
gaming.
say that's all you need is fun. All you need is fun. Ba, 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 da, ba, da.
What else have you guys been playing?
Scott?
I mean, I finished the Somnium Files. I finished it, and as far as games that make you laugh and smile and say "what the fuck" incredulously, the Somnium Files does all of those things. And I feel actually that was another thing is some of the loading screens that I've encountered during Star Wars Fallen Order made me feel more forgiving towards the Somnium Files, because there were times where the whole game would just literally lock and I'm like, is my game frozen? It was not. It was just loading the next area.
What are you playing it on? PlayStation 4?
Regular PlayStation 4, not a Pro. Yeah.
Oh,
I guess I
wow.
was playing it on PlayStation 4 Pro, so
This
I didn't have
plebeian, wow, over here. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
I know. Maybe this is my
Subpar
fault
experience.
for having crap hardware. It is not optimized for the PlayStation 4. I can give you that for sure. But some of the loading screens that were popping up were definitely making me think, you know what? the Somnium Files having a loading screen in the middle of like a QTE, maybe not so
really?
bad.
It did?
Well, the QTE, it was one of the like aiming QTE trigger events, and then as soon as you fire, it takes like a 10 to 15 second loading screen for you to do it. It was bad. It was really bad. But
wow,
I was encountering similar things in the Fallen Order, so I guess it's a worldwide problem, and I should be more understanding about it.
And for the record, you
Or
were
I'm
playing
playing-
the Somnium Files on Switch.
On the Switch.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the thing, is I need to start using more powerful hardware. But the Somnium Files doesn't seem like it's a very it doesn't seem like it has an intense amount of programming that needs to be done in between these things. Like,
Question. Are you playing docked or undocked?
docked.
Oh, that bodes no hope for me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I played the whole thing docked, and I wasn't having the greatest success with those loading times. But that's okay. It's mostly a visual novel game, and so it's not like long loading screens or any sort of lag is a problem.
So I want to get you on the record for this. Would
Yeah.
you say that maybe the Somnium Files had the best narrative of 2019? Ooh.
I don't have much to compete with it. I mean, here's the problem.
What about Disco Elysium?
Yeah.
What about Katana Zero? Katana Zero?
Yeah, Katana Zero was good. It left me hanging. The Somnium Files wrapped up very in a nice and clean way, and I really did like how many times I thought I had a grasp on things in the story and I got shook up by a red herring, essentially. And then when I started looking for red herrings actively and trying to debunk them, I still had a theory that was working, but I really was not able to string it together until maybe 15 to 20 minutes before the reveal, which is not that much game time. So the twists all hit at just the right times for my experience of the game, in which I'm formulating a theory, I'm trying to apply it to some stuff, and there is some reinforcement of that theory, but then there's also some sort of conflict for me to apply that template to who I'm thinking the killer is, or how these crimes are operating from an intent perspective. And then the twist gets thrown at me right after the evidence right after I encounter like evidence that would essentially make applying whatever my prediction at the time was, I guess moot or impossible. Like I get thrown off, and then I get thrown something new to kind of latch onto and analyze and create a new theory from. And just like the timing for that was so good. The things that I like about the nuanced and almost hands-off storytelling of the From Software games like Bloodborne or Sekiro is I think the stories are very, very good, but they do so much with like implication and giving you like impressions where you're not actually getting like a really clean narrative. You're doing a lot of filling in, and so that does leave some gaps, and that is why I don't think Sekiro, a game whose story and gameplay I really liked, can necessarily compete in the same realm. And Disco Elysium maybe got a little too messy for me story-wise from time to time. So
maybe it was a little too convenient most of the time too.
Yeah, the Somnium Files probably did it the most efficiently, and it kept me on track the whole time. It had the least amount of deviation of my attention, which
Outer Worlds.
I think if I played just the main quest line, Outer Worlds would have been fine. I did all of the side quests though, and while the side quests were interesting, they totally like threw me out of the pace of the game. The longer I stay away, or the longer I have time to think about the Outer Worlds, I enjoyed it, and I think it's still preferable to my recent experiences with the Fallout games. It might just not be my favorite type of game anymore, or it might not satisfy me in the way that like Fallout New Vegas used to.
Sorry to interrupt your thought process. I was like,
it's all good.
Stories that Scott enjoyed.
So you would say that the Somnium Files is the best story in 2019?
That I have to... yeah, I'm really sad that I don't have a counterpoint for this. I think the Somnium Files probably is the best story I encountered in 2019.
Chat, quick. Better stories for 2019 to make Scott feel better.
Scott,
they couldn't come up with anything.
It's okay that you just want, like, you have to yield that a weeb game turns out to have the best story. Fuller Spectrum liked Judgment a lot, but hasn't played I actually started playing Judgment. Granted, I started playing it after the year changed over to 2020. And the narrative seems to be a lot better than the Yakuza games, just because it's a little more serious. Not to say that it's not any more enjoyable. Excuse me. I like all of those games a lot. If we're shifting over to me for games, I have only one to talk about very quickly. I started playing Bloodborne again. I reminded myself that if you're not familiar or if you're not fresh with your parry frame data, that game is extremely punishing, especially if you're trying to do a pure arcane build.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
you were inspired by the video I sent you.
I was. So I had done like some arcane stuff before, but never to the extent of going pure arcane immediately.
Yeah.
But oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say my most successful Bloodborne run was arcane heavy, but I didn't see much success actually with any of the arcane items. But the Tonitrus hits like a truck when you have really high arcane. So I was essentially just using the Tonitrus and making sure that it was always activated with electricity. And there are a couple bosses that you just like absolutely clean up on as long as the electricity's flowing.
The problem I'm experiencing right now is that I don't need to grind. Like, I already know how to get places.
Yeah, grinding sucks.
But at the same time, I don't remember the fights well enough. So I'm stuck on Gascoigne right now. I've only tried 3 times, but I'm at a loss because I used to be able to just parry most of his attacks. But this
is Father Gascoigne before Monster Gascoigne, right? Mostly?
Both. So I got to the Beast Gascoigne phase twice. And I see, I remember the beast version of him being easier to parry. So what I did when I was playing this game at release, basically, was I would Molotov cocktail his butt until he got halfway down. And then he has less variance on his wind-up times, which I think made it easier to parry. Or I call it parry, but I don't think that's the right term for it. You're like shooting him at opportune times, right?
It is called a parry, though. I'm almost certain
it doesn't feel right.
It's called a parry.
In any case, though, like, but yeah, I don't remember the fight at all, so I just keep getting killed at this point in my 3 or 4 attempts.
Do you have a music box?
I do, but why? Like, I don't feel like it's that useful.
You don't feel comfortable using the music box?
Oh, and so the other thing is I haven't put anything into strength. At least I don't think so. So like, the saw spear and saw cleaver are doing garbage damage at this point.
Right.
So I might just have to cheese it, go and buy some oil and farm up for cocktails.
Are you using a flame sprayer?
I don't think you can get that until after Gascoigne, because that's obviously the build route, right? Like,
yeah,
you get through Gascoigne, you get the flame sprayer. Is that the name of it?
I could have sworn you got the flame sprayer as soon as you opened the shortcut.
Maybe.
Have you talked to Gilbert? Is it Gilbert? I think it is.
Gilbert's the guy at the first lantern or second lantern.
Yeah, second lantern who's coughing. I could have sworn he gave you the flame sprayer after you open up that shortcut. Because I've even seen the path where people are doing it's like the Cathedral Beast or whatever. Not Amelia, of course, but the first one.
The Cleric Beast, you mean?
Cleric Beast,
Or are you talking about the poison one?
No, it's the Cleric Beast.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the poison one is the like flayed monster. I don't remember exactly what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Man, I've forgotten all the names, but I know the moves. I know the scary looks that they all have.
In any case, we don't have to get into it. I feel like we've both done Bloodborne segments in the past.
Oh, we've done so many, but it's a good game. It's fun to talk about.
Yeah, it's really interesting playing through the game now, knowing the story and being able to like take a bit of the dialogue into better context. Because when you're going through the first time, you're so lost, I think, unless you're reading some companion guide or watching some companion playthrough to better explain what is actually happening.
Agreed. It is, out of all the From Software games that I've played, not counting Sekiro, which is pretty recent, the one that's aged the best. Like, I think it's aged better than Dark Souls 3 even, which is a game that is newer or fresher than Bloodborne.
I do think a lot of it relies, though, on whether or not you're okay with the sacrifices that Sekiro makes. Because, sorry to change subjects a bit to Sekiro, but I think there's a big community, or at least a decent number of people that are vocal, that feel that Sekiro is too simple of a game in comparison to Bloodborne and then, of course, Dark Souls. Like the limitation of only having the sword essentially as your primary weapon, which I think we both even expressed that we assumed that there would be another sword available at some point in time, not knowing it was going to be essentially a special attack sword.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know. I think the way that they let you chain attacks with your prosthetic does really, it replace the sword. And it's fair to say, when you're playing a game that is all ninja and samurai, it makes sense that you're using, Sekiro's not using a katana, right? Whatever, he's using a shorter sword than that.
Isn't he?
Wazikashi, is it? I don't know Japanese swords. But either way, I mean, it makes sense that he is using a sword this whole time, and then that is what we're locked into. And I actually think that I appreciate that about this game a lot.
You have me looking this up now.
I don't know if it's that necessary.
It seems like there is some confusion because a lot of people, or at least one particular Reddit thread, is pointing out that the Kusabi Maru is being used predominantly in one hand in a lot of these special skills, which isn't too common for a katana. But one of the top posts brings up Miyamoto Musashi, who used a katana in one hand and like a tanto in his offhand. So Or like Phantasy Star Online if you use it was called the
gun.
Musashi. I don't think it's in PSO2 at all.
Okay.
Sweet.
I don't know.
Does it?
Any closing topics? I don't really have much to say at this point.
No, we burned quite a bit of content on Thursday, but also until we're ready to really dig into the spoiler cast of the Somnium Files.
Yeah, maybe we just have to do that at some point when Cookie is
Cookie
not
has
around.
a snowboard trip next week.
Or the week after next, whenever that is.
Okay. Well, we can find out when that is, and then that would be an opportune time to do it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to talk about. That would fill a whole episode easy.
Easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
I'm always game to talk about that. I'm always game to talk about that game. Redundant word use. C- English. High school.
Proud of you? Sweet.
If you have comments, questions, or corrections, you could talk in chat like right now. Or you could write into podcast@fancyramen.com. That's podcast@fancyramen.com. Yeah, I stole your line.
You can watch us play all sorts of games across our Twitch streaming on Twitch TV/Fancy Ramen TV, where you'll find Neil. Twitch TV, Artie Strongman, a buddy of ours, and I guess ancillary pod member, adjacent pod member, favored pod guest. I don't know if Artie's still in here or not, so I just want to keep coming up with names. We also have another favored pod guest, J Frey all day, and you can find Cookie at Cookie Skimilk. Someday I may stream games, but for now, that's not the case.
The self-promotion feels even more awkward now that
we're in the stream
live.
right now.
Yeah, oh god, it feels worse, guys.
Yeah. Please don't hesitate to give us those sweet Twitch Prime subs. If you do, give them to
think they can sub you, dude.
Well, not me. They could probably sub you though.
Nah, they don't need to give me shit.
Give Neil those sweet Twitch Prime subs at the Fancy Ramen Podcast TV.
Blush.
And tell your friends and family.
Tell your grandmother, because we need more grandmothers in chat outside of Overknob.
That's right. All right. Until next time. See you guys next week.
Yep. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh.